Mr. President, you're on mute.
He's on mute. Looks like he's.
Okay, Mr. President, you appear to be unmuted. You were on mute.
Evening, everyone. This meeting of the Essex County Board of County Commissioners is hereby called to order. Due to the pandemic, this meeting is being conducted remotely. For the line is public providing public. Pardon me? To all participating in this meeting, please be mindful to put your microphone on mute until speaking. Additionally, please identify yourself by putting your name on the record each time before you speak. Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Here.
Commissioner Gill,
Here.
Commissioner Graham,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Luciano,
Here.
Commissioner Mercado,
Here.
Commissioner Siebel,
Here.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Here.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will omit the salute to the flag since we are conducting this meeting remotely. However, let us pause for a moment of silence for all of those who have perished under COVID-19. Thank you. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Yes, Mr. President, there is one, and it's for Conference Board Meeting, January 19th, 2022.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Siebel and a second from Vice President Pomares to approve the transcripts. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Clerk. Are there any topics of discussion?
Mr. President, there are none.
Madam Clerk, are there any topics of discussion?
Mr. President, there are none.
Thank you. In that case, thank you. In that case, Madam Clerk, let's move to the public comment session. Today's meeting is a combined conference board meeting, and we will vote on every item on the agenda. However, since we are meeting remotely, public has an opportunity to submit questions and comments for consideration and call in. At this portion of the meeting, the clerk will have additional instructions for our callers. Madam Clerk.
Constituents were given the opportunity to call in or send emails for public comment prior to the meeting. If you're calling in, you will be acknowledged in the order that your call was received. Emails received for public comment will be read after the calls are completed. At this time, our public information officer will announce the callers so they can state their comment or question, and be reminded, you have 3 minutes to speak. Please do not have your laptop or any electronic device on while calling in. At this time, we're accepting only calls pertaining to agenda items. Please note you'll have the opportunity to call back later in the meeting at the designated time for public comment session on non-agenda items. Kyle Malumba, Public Information Officer, please begin our public comment session now.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Chalo Malumba, Public Information Officer for the Board of Commissioners. We do not have any callers waiting to speak at this time.
Thank you. Mr. President, we also don't have any written emails for public comment regarding agenda items at this time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to ordinances on introduction and first reading. Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinance or resolutions for introduction and first reading?
Mr. President, we do not.
Do we have any for second reading and public hearing listing only?
Mr. President, we do not.
Okay, do we have any ordinance or resolutions on second reading and public hearing?
Yes, Mr. President, I have one. Ordinance number O-2022-00003.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to ordinance O-2022-00003, and it will be added to the record at a later date. I do hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O-2022-00003 open. If there's any member of the public who email comments for or against this ordinance, we will read it into the comments into the record and respond to you in writing. Or if there are any callers in the queue.
Mr. President, we do not have any callers in the queue waiting to speak.
In that case, Mr. McInerney, do you have any questions?
I have no questions on this. We've discussed this the last two prior meetings. Thank you.
Mr. Polavecchio,
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none. I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Luciano to close the public hearing on ordinance O-2022-00003. Do I have the same mover and second to approve the ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent, Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, thanks, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolution number 1, which is from the Division of Housing and Community Development, and it will be read into the record at a later date. Mr. Jackson.
Good evening, Mr. President and Commissioners. Mr. Lombardi will handle this item.
Good evening, Craig Lombardi, Project Coordinator for the Division of Housing and Community Development. As you may recall from a few months ago, the board had approved the allocation of ESG COVID funds, also known as ESG CV funds, for street outreach and shelter operation activities that were impacted by the COVID pandemic. Today, we are requesting that the board authorize the county to enter into subrecipient agreements totaling $870,000 for shelter operation activities and $80,000 for street outreach activities with those agencies that had applied for funding and were subsequently recommended and are being subsequently recommended for this funding. A quick note, these ESGCV funds were made available from the federal government to during the pandemic in order to supplement the ESG funds that we are normally awarded on an annual basis. Does anyone have any questions regarding this request?
Mr. Paulovecchio,
I don't have any comments.
Mr. McInerney.
Just a little more elaboration on the specific use of the funds.
Yes. Okay, well, shelter operations and street outreach. So street outreach would involve, obviously, helping those folks who are homeless and walking the streets, reaching out to them, trying to get them into a program and helping them out. And shelter operations takes them to that next step. And, that will include identifying what a person's issue might be, getting them counseling, helping them with job interviews, whatever it takes to try to help a person to not be homeless. And also, obviously, shelter operations would include taking someone into the shelters. And the key, again, is to try to get people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness back to a more stable living situation.
Is the Newark YMCA still an integral part of that homeless shelter program?
Yes, they are. They're very active and one of the more active agencies out there.
And so that some of this funds will inure to them for services rendered for the rooms that they have there?
Yes. Yeah, they have been recommending that they receive an award of $190,800.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McInerney. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Graham from Commissioner Graham and a second from Commissioner McConnell. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Ricardo,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson absent, Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill, Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 2 through 4, which are from the Division of Community Action and will be added to the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, Mr. McCoy will handle items 2 through 4.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Terrence McCoy with the Division of Community Action, coming before you with the renewal of our annual agreement with the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for the Community Service Block Grant Program with services to the low-income constituents of this county to continue services for low-income population. And these grant dollars are being subcontracted out to our CAP agencies that receive these funds that are entitlement funds for every year. First agency would be the East Orange Community Development Corporation, here who is receiving an amount of $113,750. Resolution number 3 would be our Township of Irvington Neighborhood Improvement Corporation, who is receiving $107,500, and the Montclair Neighborhood Development Corporation, who is receiving $86,250. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Paulovecchio.
Yes. Mr. McCoy, how do you select these three agencies for these three communities?
These agencies are our CAP agencies that get these funds every year. They're our entitlement agencies that have been getting these funds for the last 30 years. There's no RFP requirements for these grants to divide it up to the agencies. However, if agencies would like to get involved, we will sit down and discuss it with them on a further basis and include them in the process of getting grant dollars.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President,
McInerney?
No, I have no questions, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Mr. McInerney?
As I said, I have no questions on these three items.
1 second. I was trying to hear from McInerney. Okay. Commissioner Sebo?
Okay.
I know there are no matching funds, but I'm curious to know, has this amount of money changed from last year, or are we getting the same amount, or are we getting more?
Through you, Mr. President, these funds are the startup. The money is given to the county piecemeal. So we will be coming before the board to amend the grant because we're going to receive additional dollars probably within the second quarter of the year.
Is it more than last year?
Right now, we can't tell because we won't know until we get the next award, which will probably won't be until around May. Usually we get around $1.5 million. Last year, that's what we got, $1.5 million last year. So we're hoping that we'll get the same amount this year.
Okay, thank you. You've answered my question.
Okay.
Mr. President? Thank you.
Commissioner Cooper?
How many CAP agencies do we have? And what's the process to become a CAP agency?
In Essex County, we have 4. However, we only fund 3. Newark is its own population. They get their money directly from the state. The process to become a CAP agency is that we will sit down with an agency who's interested, go through their paperwork. We had one agency that was involved, that wanted to be involved. However, the paperwork was not up to par, so we couldn't include them in becoming a CAP agency. They would have to apply through the state to become a CAP agency, and the county would help them through that process of becoming a CAP agency.
And what does CAP stand for?
Community Action Partnership.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Commissioners, any other questions, comments? I have one. How do you measure outcomes? So you give them money, and how do they report out in terms of what they've done with the money? How whatever is accomplished? How do you measure what they do with the money? And
Through you, Mr. President, we get monthly reports, and we do monitorings every quarter. It's based on the amount of money that they're spending, the number of participants that they are serving, and the number of program services that they are providing to the community.
so they service the community in what ways?
What
are the services that some of these people provide?
Some of the services would be the food pantry. Also, they have classes for financial literacy for people that are trying to get budgeting assistance on how to manage their rent, how to manage their money on buying food, paying their utilities. We also have housing counseling where folks are at odds with the landlord. So we have counselors that sit with them and do mediation work between the landlord and the tenant to try and help them get streamlined on not being evicted or trying to get the tenant to become more compliant with following the housing code standards.
So is there a certain number of participants or residents that they have to see on a monthly basis, or is just whoever comes in? So that number can so it could be from it could be from 1 to 100.
Yes, it could be. We ask them to give us a level of service, a number of participants that they're going to service. You know, some come under and most come over.
Okay.
And the majority of times they come over the number of level of services that they have, that they put down in their contract.
All right, thank you very much. Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Gill and a second from Commissioner Cooper to take resolutions 2 through 4 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to resolutions number 5 from the Division of Community Health, and it will be read into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. This resolution is an acceptance and approval for participation in the CHA grant program, County Environmental Health Act. The county's health department, if the board so approves, will administer and delegate environmental health activities around the solid waste, air, water, noise, and pesticide pollution, and report their findings into the New Jersey Environmental Management System. And there is a budget insertion coming on later in the agenda to provide for funding for this. Suggest the approval of it.
Mr. Jackson, you're fading out.
Yeah, I'll do that again, Mr. President. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
It might be the AC. That's it. Yeah, this is an agreement, Mr. President, that the board so approves. The Department of Health, the county's Department of Health will apply for right to know inspections, air, health, water, solid waste inspections, and then make those its findings in the New Jersey Environmental Management System. And again, there's a budget insertion coming up later in the agenda if the board so approves to provide for funding.
Thank you. Mr. Paulovecchio.
I don't have any questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions on this.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Gill. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Graham.
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 6 through 8, which are from the Department of Public Works and will be read into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, David Antonio will handle these items.
Good evening, Commissioners. David Antonio, Department of Public Works. Item number 6 is a 24-month contract extension to Joseph Menkowski Incorporated to provide waste tire removal and disposal services. This contract shall not exceed $100,000. Again, it is for a 24-month period. Also note that this service not only is used to dispose of waste tires generated by the county's fleet operations, but also those collected during the county's public tire recycling events. Item number 7 is a contract change order with Alemo Group Consulting Engineers to provide MEP engineering services for the rooftop unit replacement project at the Juvenile Detention Center in Newark. This will add an amount not to exceed $10,000 to the existing contract. This will increase the existing contract by 12.6%. Additional engineering scope of work has been identified as being needed in order to interconnect the new rooftop units with the existing building's management system, or BMS. Item number 8 is a contract award to Multiforce Systems Incorporated to provide support and maintenance for the Fuel Force fuel management system. This will be a 24-month agreement, non-fair and open contract, not to exceed $50,000. This funding will allow for communication updates at the 9 county-operated fueling stations. As you may know, the sunsetting of the nation's 3G cellular network requires action to be taken now to ensure that our 9 fueling stations remain fully operational. If there are any questions, I will take them at this time. Thank you.
Mr. Palavecchio.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. Antonio, on number 6, with the contract extension, what was the amount spent on those initial years of the contract? It's an amount now not to exceed 100,000.
Right. So far we've experienced north of $20,000 per year.
Mr. President, if I may interrupt, someone needs to put their phone on mute. We're hearing background noise or conversation. Excuse me, Mr. President.
Mr. Palavecchio?
I'm good.
San Antonio?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Graham and a second from Commissioner Mercado to take resolutions 6 through 8 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 9 through 11, which are from the Department of Parks and will be read into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, Mr. Zates will handle these items.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Number 9 is a contract award with Motivated Security Services, the lowest responsible bidder to provide security service at the Turtleback Zoo. 24-month contract not to exceed $257,010.40. Specifically, this is for overnight hours and holidays to provide security at the zoo. The hourly rate is $22.62, and we do have a representative from the company on the line to give you more details on the contract.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Mark Savage of Motivated Security Services. I'd be happy to entertain any questions that you might have about the contract. We are a security service agency. The company has been incorporated since 1991, headquartered in Somerville, New Jersey. We have provided other services in Essex County, currently providing security services at a number of charter schools, both in Irvington and Newark. And in the past have provided security services for the Newark Housing Authority. In addition to that, we've fortunate enough that we were the low bidder, responsive bidder, that is, on this contract to provide the security services overnight and on the holidays at the zoo for the next 24 months. Any questions that you may have, please feel free to ask away. Thank you.
Joshua Zates, County Parks.
Josh, if I could just, a quick question on number 9 here. In addition to the overnight and holiday service that this firm provides, is regular hours security exclusively provided by the sheriff's office, or is there a different provider?
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President. Mr. Palavecchio, that is correct. During the operating hours, the sheriff's department is responsible for security.
Okay, and they don't do anything, is this supplemental for overnight and holidays, or does this firm now take over for a sheriff on the overnight and holidays?
This firm would be solely responsible for overnight security.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Okay, let's get to Mr. McInerney first, and then we'll come to the commission.
Okay, I thought you were done.
I don't have any questions. Yeah, I don't have any
Commissioner
questions.
Sebo.
All right, I have a question because this is you're providing security services. How many people will provide those services?
Over the course of a week, we will have 4 individuals providing services, one in the evening, one overnight, and of course, accounting for the other 2 people on days off for the other personnel.
So you'll just have one person at night
At
two
a
different
time, correct,
periods?
Yes.
One person is enough to provide security for the entire zoo?
To the scope of work that is designated for the account, yes, we feel it is. The person
All right,
is really responsible for patrol.
All right. Okay, so that's for overnight, and why on holidays? You mean when the zoo is closed?
When the staff leaves, the understanding is that the staff leaves a little earlier than what the regular scheduled time is on the holiday. Whenever the zoo is closed, we'll be there.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for the information.
You're welcome.
Mr. President, can I ask a question?
Mr. McInerney.
So, how does the one person inside the zoo, how is that person monitored? Are there stations that he has to check into around the zoo during the course of his shift?
Yes, there are. There's a number of stations, 15, I believe. And on each of his patrols, he's using an electronic tour system, with a proximity reader, which he'll be able to, he'll touch, and then the information is then sent back to back online, knowing exactly what the person is doing and when he's doing it.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. President? Quick question. Is this the first time we're
Commissioner
doing
Cooper.
this? Is this the first time that we're doing this overnight security service?
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks, through you, Mr. President. No, we have had different vendors in the past, the most recent being Community Enterprises. I believe this is the first time we're using this particular company, but we have had these services provided by a private vendor previously.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, Mr. President.
Commissioners.
Why is it a new
Commissioner
vendor?
Sebo.
Why is it a new vendor?
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks, through you, Mr. President. Motivated Security was the lowest bidder when we bid this contract.
And different from the firm you used last year?
I apologize. I couldn't understand what you were saying.
I said different from the firm you used last year.
That is correct.
All right, thanks, Josh.
Commissioners, any other questions? I just have one. Do you employ any Essex County residents?
The plan is to employ all Essex County residents for this job.
So when is the job supposed to start? And so as of
March
this
1st.
moment, you don't have any employees that are going to fill those slots. So you have
Oh, no,
to hire all Essex County residents? Is that my understanding?
No, the job is scheduled to start on March 1st, and the people that we are anticipating hiring are actually people who are existing working at the contract for the prior vendor, who are Essex County residents.
Gotcha. Very good.
Mr. President, I have a question again.
Mr. McInerney.
How many employees do you currently have now on your payroll?
Overall, the company has 950 employees.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Zates.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Number 10 is a contract award to Central Nebraska Packing to furnish and deliver frozen animal meat. 24-month contract not to exceed $300,000. This is a non-fair and open contract. This is the first time we are entering into a non-fair and open for any of the food over at the Turtleback Zoo.
We have been finding it more and more difficult to secure pricing for more than 6 months. So this enables us to have a vendor for a full 24 months, and then the pricing could fluctuate based on the market. We would go out and get quotes for the various meats and then pay for it accordingly. This is for any animal in the zoo that eats meat, lions, you name it, wolves, and there's a whole list of different kinds of meat: horse short, horse shank bones, horse knuckle bones, horse neck bones. Personally, nothing that sounds too appetizing for me. Number 11 is a contract award to provide graphic arts and design services with Iris Communications, April 25th of this year through April 24th of next year, not to exceed $134,900. This is with Iris Communications for any kind of graphics that we have, be it t-shirt design, postcards, rack cards, banners, signs. This is a woman-owned business and also a small business. And I am happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Mr. Polavecchio,
I don't have any questions.
Mr. McInerney,
No questions.
Commissioners, Commissioner Sebo.
Thank you very much. I think Iris Communications does a wonderful job. They've been doing this for a number of years, and I think it's a great company. And I understand they're from Roseland. Is that correct?
Through Joshua Zates, County Parks, through you, Mr. President, Commissioner Siebel, that is correct. They are based in Roseland.
Thank you very much.
Commissioners, questions or comments? I just have a comment. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken. I think we had a conversation maybe the last time they got this contract where the Board of Commissioners were left off some of the publications. So I just want to make sure that Mr. Zate, that doesn't happen this year.
Certainly, that was an oversight, and we assure you it will not happen again.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I'm sorry, I was trying to unmute to ask a quick question.
Commissioner Cooper.
Is this the group that's responsible for doing that summer mail out that we get for the listing of all the activities and the billboards that we see within the park for activities?
Joshua Zates, County Parks, through you, Mr. President. The actual mailing that you're referring to, the 8 or 12 page brochure, that is a different company that we contract out to do that publication. But the billboards you would see would be under Iris Communications. They would design those.
So then what does Iris do? You just said they do the billboards, and what else do they do for you?
They would do billboards, postcards, t-shirts if we were doing some kind of t-shirt with one of our events. Basically anything other than that publication you alluded to. Anything involving graphics.
Is your office responsible for handling that publication that get mailed out, that thick one, a really nice one?
Parks through with the vendor works on it together. We review it. Public Information also reviews it, and then once it's finalized, it gets mailed out.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, just one more comment about the billboards. You know, the Board of Commissioners, we have a picture with all of us on it. So I'd like to see on those billboards, I'd like to see those that commissioner picture on those billboards as well. Because a lot of times I see a lot of dead space and a lot of folks on those billboards, and the commissioners are somewhere in the corner on the back of the billboard, very small, you can barely read it.
Certainly, I will bring that to the attention of the Parks Director and Deputy Director, and I'm sure if it's aesthetically pleasing, we will be happy to incorporate that.
So what are you trying to say? If we look good, if we don't look good, it won't go on. What are you saying?
I think I think having seen no other commissioner board in the state, I will say that the Essex County Commissioner Board is by far the most attractive.
That still may not get us on the billboard, because we may not be aesthetically pleasing. I got it.
You always look good, President. You always look good.
All right. So no more questions or comments. I have a motion from Commissioner Sebo and a second from Commissioner Luciano to take resolutions 9 through 11 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes, and Mr. President, I look forward to you touching up your headshots to make sure that they're aesthetically pleasing enough for the administration.
Yeah. I think all 9 of us are gonna have to do so.
I know, we might have to start our own health, we'll do some training and everything. Watch out.
Commissioner Graham.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The resolution 12 and 58, which are from the office of the sheriff, and then will be added.
Did you say 12 and 13?
I said 12 and 58.
12, 13, and 58, Mr. President.
You're not coming through clearly, President.
I'm not.
No.
Warrant.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. Coltrane will handle these 3 items.
Mr. President, Julius Coltree, Deputy Administrator, Purchasing Agent. This is for the Office of the Sheriff, acceptance of a sub-grant award for the Federal Emergency Management Agency Program Assistance Funds in the amount of $110,000. $55,000 will be grant. The other $55,000 is in kind for salary and wages, and it starts July 1st, 2021 to June 20th, 2022. And this is for the purpose of updating their program for terrorism, natural disasters, and any other emergencies and for response and recovery. Number 13 is the Office of Purchasing to Finari to provide psychological examinations for various agencies, prosecutors' offices. Yes. Mr. President, you're breaking up.
I think he's frozen. I only see 4 commissioners. Just want to make sure we have enough people.
I believe
here.
Commissioner Graham is
Who
on.
said I'm here? Who said I'm here?
Commissioner Graham.
There we go. Okay, got it.
Commissioner Graham is participating by phone for this meeting.
No, that's okay. I just didn't see the green light, so now I got it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Mr. President, we're doing 13.
He's not coming through correctly.
He's frozen.
Mr. Coltrane.
Yes.
I have 12 and 58, and we're gonna come back to 13.
Okay. 58 is for the Office of the Sheriff Contract Award to Frank's Truck Center, purchase of a 2021 or newer Chevrolet Tahoe sports utility van. It's part of a voluntary co-op, amount not to exceed $58,669. This vehicle is also being funded through insurance. The original vehicle was totally damaged, and it's a replacement vehicle.
Okay. Mr. Palavecchio.
I don't have any questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions, Mr. President.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Vice President Pomares to take resolutions 12 and 58 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk. Do we lose the clerk too? No. You're muted.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent Commissioner Graham.
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Please be reminded, we will conduct a public comment session for the non-agenda items at the end of the meeting. Any other comments? Clerk, can you give them the call-in information, please?
Yes, Mr. President. If you're calling in, the number is 855-756-7520 and use the password 78874. That's 78874. After entering the password, listen for the prompt to press 0 to be placed in the queue to speak during the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolution number 13, which is from the Office of Purchasing and will be added to read into the record at a later time.
Mr. President, Julius Coltree, purchasing agent. This is a contract extension for Dr. Susan A. Fanari for fitness of duty and psychological testing for the prosecutor's office, for the sheriff's office, and for our corrections department. Not to exceed $322,000. Expended in the last contract period was $169,540. Each psychological exam is $370 per test. Fitness for duty is $550 per test. And Ms. Fanari is a WBE from Nutley, New Jersey.
Mr. Polavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney. You're muted, sir.
Was any of her money, like COVID? Sorry, hold on one second. All right, here we go. Was any of this, these fees funded by COVID during the last year or two?
Not to my knowledge, Mr. McInerney, but we can find that out for you.
Yeah, just curious if we hired new people for that and whether or not that was a chargeable item.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Seaboard and a second from Commissioner Vice President Pomares. Roll call, Madam.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to resolutions 14 through 16, which are from the Department of Corrections, and we'll read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Directors Ortiz and Perillo will handle these items.
Good evening. Alfaro Ortiz, Director, Essex County Correctional Facility. Item number 14, Department of Corrections contract award to SDA Laundry Tech LLC, the sole responsible bidder to provide repair of laundry equipment from March 11, 2022 through March 10, 2024, amount not to exceed $200,000. That's for the repair of all the laundry equipment that we have throughout the institution of the inmate laundry, provide inmate laundry services. Item 15, Department of Corrections contract with ScheduleSoft Corporation to provide scheduling software for Essex County Correctional Facility from March 1st, 2022 through February 28, 2024, amount not to exceed $74,496. That is for the scheduling program that we use for the close to 700 corrections people that we have, the scheduling on all 3 shifts, days off, vacation picks, and whatever is obviously a very complicated matter. With regard to item 16, Director Perillo.
Yes, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon, good evening, Commissioners. I'm here to speak about the LEOTEF grant that we're going to receive. The Police Training Commission has what they call a Law Enforcement Officers Training and Equipment Fund, where they allocate monies to, or grant money to academies based on the amount of recruits that we put in. This year's allocation was $17,448 for our academy, and it goes towards equipment that we use and need for training.
Okay. Next.
Mr. President, I think that's it for that segment of corrections.
Oh, okay. Mr. Palavecchio.
I don't have any questions on this.
McInerney.
I have no questions, Mr. President.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Sebo and a second from Vice President Morris to take resolutions 14 through 16 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 17 through 30, which are temporary appropriations from various state and local agencies, and we'll read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Director Perillo will handle item 17. I do not hear him, so I'll just do it. This is connected with item 16 that the board just approved. This is the funding to provide for the equipment that Director Perillo mentioned under item 16. Item 18 also is a, where am I? 18. Temporary emergency appropriation, Department of Law and Safety. This is for body armor for the Department of Corrections in the amount of $25,737.67. This is to, with a 5-year useful life. This will provide for approximately 26 vests. Item 19, Department of Corrections will provide for the MAT program, mental health and addiction services in lieu of other treatment that are available at the facility. This will treat up to 1,500 inmates, and it's a grant period of July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2022. Item 20, similarly, is, and that's funding that $700,000 for item 19. That comes from the state of New Jersey. Item 20 is funding from the federal government in the amount of $1.2 million, and this is also for the corrections MAT program. Let's see. Item 21 is connected to item 15. Item 5 earlier, related to the CHA grant in the amount of $276,002. There's a county match of $257,370 for this grant. Item 22 Department of the Sheriff. This is also for body armor in the amount of $15,715.20 to provide for approximately 15 vests, and there's no county match under this program. Mr. Smith will handle items 23 through 30. Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. President, Board of Commissioners, Madam Clerk. My name is Eric Smith. I'm the Senior Data Processing Programmer for the Essex County Division of Senior Services. Item number 2023 is asking the Board of Commissioners for approval of grant award application for fiscal year 2022 statewide respite care program in the amount of $594,515. Item number 24 is a temporary emergency appropriation from the state of New Jersey Department of Human Services Divisional Agent for statewide respite care program to the Essex County Division of Senior Services in that amount of $594,515. Item number 25 is the request of approval for the 2022 service providers and rates under the Respite Care Services Grant and an amount not to exceed $481,556.01. Item number 26 is a temporary emergency appropriation from the state of New Jersey Department of Human Services Divisional Agent for respite care program income to the Division of Senior Services in the amount of $23,560.13. Item number 27 is a temporary emergency appropriation from the Jersey Assistance for Community Caregivers Assistance Program for Care Coordination Program income to the Division of Senior Services in the amount of $73,630.24. And item number 28 is another emergency appropriation from the state of New Jersey Division on Aging for 2020 state aid reimbursement funds to the Essex County Division of Senior Services in an amount of $58,000. And item number 29 is a temporary emergency appropriation from the New Jersey Transit for 2019 Federal Transit Administration Section 5310 grant program to the Essex County Division of Senior Services in the amount of $150,000. And item number 30 is a emergency appropriation from the New Jersey Transit for the Senior Citizen and Disabled Resident Transportation Program to the Essex County Division of Senior Services for $1,768,771.07. And if you have any questions, I'm here free to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Paulovecchio.
No questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
These are all grant appropriations, Mr. President. I have no questions.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper.
Thank you. Is anybody on who can explain item number 19, how that program works?
Commissioner, what we intended to do is when we come in for the awarding of the program, to go through with the board an expansive explanation of how that works. We'll have Dr. Anisette and company come on and explain. This is just inserting the dollars for the program, but when we do the actual contract, we'll go through an expansive explanation. But basically, this is a program to help inmates who are in our facility to overcome incidents of if they have potential overdose, other types of treatment for drug issues. This has proven to be a very successful program. I will leave it up to Director Ortiz and Warden Cirillo and Dr. Anisette to go into more detail. But again, we'll do that when we come back for the board with the contract.
Do you know when that you anticipate that on being the timeline for that?
Do you remember, Matt, we did it last year?
I think like May, so
Yeah,
probably.
I think it was May, June timeframe.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Luciano to take resolutions 17 through 30 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 31 through 57, which are all accommodations and memoriams and proclamation resolutions, and we will add them to the record at a later time. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Madam Clerk, 42 says Commissioner Johnson is not on. It's honoring the Essex County College men's basketball team for winning the 2019-2020 NJCAA East B Division Region State Basketball Championship. I'd like to see that be via acclamation.
Okay, we will change that to by acclamation, Mr. President.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Graham and a second from Commissioner Mercado to take resolutions 31 through 57 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any added starters?
Mr. President, yes, there is one. The added starter is, I believe,
Resolution 59.
yes, Resolution 59.
Mr. Jackson, please explain the resolution, please.
Mr. President, Julius Coltrane, Agent Deputy Administrator. This is a Commissioner of Registration Superintendent of Election contract with Best Shipping Ever in Region A and Main Street Movers in Region B to provide a voting machine to move from various election polling places along with any other material. Best Shipping, the lowest bidder was $106.50 per machine, and Main Street Movers was $115 per machine for moving, not to exceed $400,000, Mr. President.
So the Brantley Brothers no longer has the contract?
Brantley Brothers does not have the contract. We received 3 total bids. These 2 vendors and General Moving Carriers, LLC.
And where are these 2 vendors located?
One is located in Berkeley Heights, that's Main Street Movers, and Best Shipping Ever is in Hackensack, New Jersey.
And does any of them employ any Essex County resident?
Not to my knowledge, but I can find that out for you.
Mr. Polavecchio.
I don't have any questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions, Mr. President.
Commissioners, questions or comments?
President.
Commissioner Gill.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the contract itself, I know we experienced some challenges with the last with the last set of deliveries during that election cycle. Did we make any adjustments in this contract as a result of our experience? Meaning, are there additional penalties and or other clauses to help ensure that we don't have the same experience that we had last time?
We do not have any clauses in the contract. However, what they did is they separated the contract into two zones, an A zone and a B zone. And in the contract, they allowed for if one of the vendors cannot complete the job, but the other vendor may be able to do it. So those were the only changes. They create the county in half, and then they also made a provision in there that if one vendor is not capable of handling the job, the other vendor can do it.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner.
No, thank you, Mr. President. That answered my question. Thank you.
No, thank you. So the Brantley brothers didn't have that benefit.
At that particular time, the Board of Election, the Commissioner of Registration only had one vendor for the entire county. That was their solicitation at the time.
Commissioner, Commissioner Cooper.
I don't have this resolution in my packet. Did you say it was was it emailed to us?
Yes, it was emailed to you. It was an added starter.
Yes, it was emailed.
Through you, Mr. President.
What is this resolution for, please? It's for the voting machines, you said?
Yes, Mr. President, it's for delivery of voting machines for all the elections for the next 2 years, not to exceed $400,000, and all the other equipment, whether it's signs, flags, et cetera, that they have to deliver.
And did you say that it's 2 vendors now or 1?
There are 2 vendors. The superintendent of election, in their specifications, cut the county in half, so no one vendor would be overwhelmed.
So who are the 2 vendors now, please? Since I don't have the resolution, I'm trying to look for it in my email.
Commissioner, for Area A, it's Best Shipping Ever from Hackensack, New Jersey, and their bid was $106.50 per machine per delivery. And the other one was Main Street Movers of Berkeley Heights, New Jersey, and they were at $115 per machine per delivery.
So the prior vendor didn't bid at all? Or were they
Prior-
precluded from bidding?
Prior vendor did not bid at all. We had a total of 3 vendors. The other vendor was General Moving Carriers, and their bid was $299.13 per machine.
Please correct me. If the prior vendor was a Newark-based, a county-based vendor, right?
It was a Newark-based vendor from Freeland Heights and Avenue. Yes, they were.
And these 2 now are new people. You said Berkeley Heights and Hackensack.
Both Main Street Movers, we used them a few years ago, and these are 2 new vendors for this particular bid.
And the Brantley brothers, I guess their contract ended, and that's why you went back out to bid?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Gill and a second from Commissioner Cooper. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent, Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Present, not voting.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
No.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move the board to move report and board committees. Commissioners, do we have any reports of board committees?
Mr. President, we are scheduled to have a T&R committee meeting. I got a couple emails. The office got phone calls on it. March 22nd, I believe. For the constituents that's interested, we will send out a notice or an email to those people who generally contact us to let them know, confirm that date and time, but I believe it's March 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any legislative reports? Any written communications? Any unfinished business? Any new business? Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to public comment session on non-agenda items. However, since we are meeting remotely, the public had an opportunity to submit questions and comments for consideration, and they also have the opportunity to call in. Madam Clerk.
You will be acknowledged to speak in the order that your call was received. Emails received for public comment will be read after the calls are completed. At this time, our public information officer, Chalo Malumba, will begin our public comment session now for non-agenda items.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Chalo Malumba, Public Information Officer for the Essex County Board of Commissioners. We do not have any callers waiting to speak at this time.
Thank you. Mr. President, we do not have any emails or written correspondence for non-agenda items for the public comment.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. In that case, Commissioners, do you have any comments you would like to make at this time?
Yes, Mr. President.
Commissioner Sebo.
I was very saddened to learn today that our wonderful county council, Courtney Gassion, is retiring. I truly can't believe that you are leaving us, Courtney. I feel so bad that you will be gone. I really, really do. But I want to wish you the very best on your retirement.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I'm not retiring yet. So I have a little bit life left in me before I retire, but I am moving on to another position. So I thank you very much for the well wishes. I appreciate it.
Well, that's the notice that I received today.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. President, Courtney, best of luck to you.
Thank you, Frank.
I didn't hear that.
Absolutely. You've been a stalwart and a steady hand for us, sometimes kind of like misguided folks. You've always been steady, so the best to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I will be here for one more meeting in March. So you're not done with me yet.
Okay.
That's too soon.
There was no drama. It was just whatever it was, it was. Yeah.
And Courtney, I've seen many different county councils, and you by far have been just about the best we have had. Some were good, some were okay, but you've been absolutely wonderful.
Thank you very much.
In that case, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Take care, everyone. Be safe.
Good night.
Safe, everybody.
Bye.